Welcome to Masterclass. On today's podcast, we'll join a conversation with Glassnote Records recording artist Aurora, a 20-year-old singer-songwriter from Norway. Her debut album, All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend, has been noted by the New York Times as offering pop bait and dark introspection. Our moderator today is Weston Pagano. Weston is the co-founder and editor-in-chief of the online culture magazine Transverso Media. All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend can be heard in its entirety right here on Spotify.
So, would you like to introduce yourself and how's it going? How have you enjoyed Chicago so far?
Good. I went to the cinema yesterday. It's my first time at an American cinema. You have really nice chairs with your feet. My name is Aurora and I'm Norwegian and I write music.
So just if we're going to start from the beginning, I think one of the things that's most interesting about your trajectory here is that when you first started making music, you kept it as a secret, right? And so I'm kind of curious, how do you take such an intimate part of yourself and broadcast it as it becomes increasingly public through your career?
Well, it's kind of, it was very scary in the beginning, but more of because of my own reasons to feel that I could be. It was more scary to sing in front of people and to have people actually hearing my voice than to share emotions and stories and music. Because I think the most beautiful thing about music is that anyway, who the sadness in music comes from, we can always find it in everyone around us, and we are quite similar when it comes to these intimate emotions, and it feels very natural because I know that my songs will be understood because people will have definitely felt the same way as I felt when I wrote the song, so it's not as scary as it sounds.
And it's interesting too because you, from what I've read, you weren't a very shy child because in school you convinced everyone that the school was being taken over by mice, right? Like speaking mice, is that correct? When you were 6?
Well, I thought school was very boring, especially at that time, and I had big issues sitting still. I had ants in my butt all the time. If that's a word, is that a saying here?
It's close enough.
Not real. Okay, not real ants, but just the feeling. Yeah. Anyway. Yes, so I guess I just wanted to make the world and school a bit more exciting, both for myself, because I easily believed my own imagination. I don't know, it made me happy to tell people stories. And it was funny to see how they believed them.
So do you have the same approach with your music then, trying to tell a story and just make the world more exciting through your art? Is it the same kind of
Well, in one way, yes. I think half of it is to make the world a bit more exciting. And sometimes the world is a bit too exciting, especially nowadays, I think. So maybe it's also to calm the world a bit down, or at least make us understand what we are up against. And I mean, like, the hard times in life, I guess. So to make it more exciting and a bit less exciting at the same time.
So growing up in Norway, before you even spoke English, you would listen to English singers, English lyricists, English vocalists. I'm curious, how did that inform your understanding of the musicality of vocals? Because if you didn't understand what they were saying, you were listening purely for the melody of their voice, right?
Absolutely. Now, it's strange how when I grew older and I understood the words that in the songs, it made sense because I could already understand that this song is about love or about missing someone, about saying goodbye. It's about something sad, or this song is curious. And it's weird how, especially children are very wise, especially when it comes to these instincts like emotions and to feel. I think children can more easily than grown-ups kind of feel how people feel around them without asking. or even understanding it, but they just feel it. And I think it's very easy, especially if the person singing the song has a good way of telling their story. You can hear the nerves in the voice, and you can hear if it's a sadness in it or a happiness.
So I guess I'm also then curious, why did you decide to sing in English, and do you often have a difficulty translating your emotions into this language that you didn't grow up with?
Well, sometimes it's always harder to talk and speak and to tell a story on a different language than your own. But it's also a nice, and that kind of brings us back to the first question about how scary it is sharing the intimateness in your songs. But it helps in writing in English, because you do kind of become a different person when you speak in a different language. A bit tougher maybe, or at least I kind of feel like I'm a bit tougher, especially on Norwegian shows where I sing in English and I talk in Norwegian in between the songs. It's weird how frightening it makes me feel to talk in my own language on stage, because then I'm me 100%. I'm not. There's no mask or there's no disguise. I'm just Aurora. So it helps singing in English. Also, if the song is really sad, it helps me get some distance from the song. And also think that English is a very poetic language. It's very soft and it kind of dances on your tongue. So I like it.
So you feel there's like a sort of performative quality to the English language?
Yes, definitely. And also the ability to not divide myself from the rest of the world. It's nice to know that many people can have the opportunity to understand my songs, because everyone should have the right, I think, to understand, because music is a beautiful thing to share. It can connect people.
So speaking about the emotions in your music, I think there's a really interesting blend of sort of fragility but also boldness, right? It's almost paradoxical in that way. I was just wondering if you could speak on how you find a balance between those two themes.
Well, I do like schizophrenic music quite a lot, and it makes me very happy. It makes me feel very excited when music is very soft but with hard elements, or if it's really sad but it sounds a bit happy, or the other way around. I like it when it feels like there's some depth, and it's nice for the brain, I think, to listen to a song that sends different signals to you, to your brain and to your heart. It kind of makes you want to hear the song again, because you didn't fully understand how the song makes you feel. And for me, it just makes me feel very happy when I get a bit confused, when I feel happy and sad at the same time, or songs that makes you feel badass. I like that as well. But then it also makes you feel fragile, and it's just it's a nice exercise for the mind, I think.
And it's, that kind of ties into another question I had is, I love that you are a heavy metal or a dark metal fan, but there's obviously a very big difference between that sort of music and the music that you create as well. So do you find yourself maybe identifying with different types of music more as a fan and less as a creator, and vice versa? Or is that sort of the same thing you were speaking about before?
Well, I think it's just a kind of a way of me telling the world by being a huge fan of heavy metal, but also Enya and classical music. And it's just a way of telling that in many ways music is just music. And it's and I don't really care about what genre the song I like is from, because I feel like, I don't know, I need different music for every emotion I want to feel. I wouldn't listen to heavy metal if I needed to cry. But sometimes I need heavy metal in my life, and especially when I go to see them live. It's much alike the way I feel when I play live myself, just lots of energy and singing until your face grows red, and sometimes like people headbang to a few of our songs, and it's just nice to see how how music is just music, and it kind of represents different emotions that you need to feel. And I'm from Norway, which makes sense, because everyone from Norway loves heavy metal, or at least most of us.
So that's true too, because at least from America, I don't know how true this is, obviously from Scandinavia, but our perception of Scandinavian music often as Americans is this sort of dichotomy between heavy, dark music and then very poppy, sort of energetic music, right? If you look at a lot of the artists who've come out of there, on one side you have, you know, those dark musics, and then you also have like Robin or, you know, Knife or Peter, Bjorn and John. Is that kind of true? Does it seem like a very dichotomous sort of scene?
Well, yes. If you think of Scandinavia as a whole scene, that's definitely true. But then Robin and the Knife is from Sweden, and Enslaved and Runa and many other bands you probably haven't heard about. It's more darker. I think Norwegian bands can be a bit darker, but although we do have some happiness in us as well. I think it's a way of dealing with the dark winters, because in wintertime we have no sun almost, and during the summer the sun doesn't really go away. We have no darkness. So maybe it's because of the big contrasts in the seasons around us, because everything we see and feel affects us and what we make, I think. So maybe because of the seasons, I don't know.
So in some of your songs, from Runaway to Half the World Away, you deal with these sorts of themes of home and leaving home. How has transitioning from Norway to London and New York, how has that kind of altered your music and inspired you?
Well, not as much as you think, or maybe more than I think. It's kind of, I'm mostly inspired when I'm home by my piano, and we have this great view over I live in a fjord called the Fjord of Light. Actually, it means in English, it sounds very poetic. It's not as poetic in Norwegian, but yeah. I live in the Fjord of Light, and it's just beautiful to watch, and I see this ocean and these mountains and this beautiful nature, and it's very quiet. So it's very easy to let yourself be inspired, because no sounds are crashing with the sounds of your mind, if that makes sense. And it's just, and I can't be that inspired anywhere else than in that quiet zone I have at home. But still, I do write all the time now, as I'm on the road, on planes and trains, and while waiting in line. And I can sense my songs being a bit more aggressive and quicker. So I guess I'm a bit affected in that way, because the world is much busier out here than it is at home. I live far away from people, so it's very quiet. But I think I will always be mostly inspired by that. By nature, it's more quiet than we are.
So do you find yourself missing nature when you're in these urban environments?
Oh yes, a lot. And just walking around and having, it seems like people don't have that much time here, because we're always heading somewhere or doing something, and there's always a phone or a song on the radio or a TV screen on the restaurant. And we have that in Norway as well, but it's like in the cities, it's so busy, and there's so many people affecting the way you feel. If you bump into someone and they say, "Hey, watch yourself," and suddenly you feel a bit sad and you don't know why. We're having a great time, and then suddenly someone says, especially here, "What a nice dress," they say, and then they walk and move on, and you feel very happy. So you get much more affected by energies around you here. What did you ask about? Did I answer?
No, that's great. I mean,
Okay.
I asked about do you miss nature in the urban environment? But it's interesting too to see how the social pressures of these interactions are very different from where you came from, and maybe does that kind of tie itself into, because as a performer, you obviously come in contact with a lot of people, and
Yeah.
you're on stage. How do you find that maybe preparing you more for doing shows?
Well, yes, I think so, because I'm not terrified anymore before going onto the stage. I don't think that I'm going to die, and it did feel like that maybe 2 years ago when I had my first shows. It's a nice way to build a thicker skin, if that makes sense, to bump into people and to get used to the, and it's very exciting as well, and all the smells, and it's very exciting as well. But I definitely miss home a lot, because it's a very different place from everywhere else, and I think we all need to have a place like that once in a while, where we can just exist, because it doesn't really ask anything of us, it just lets you be, which is a very special feeling.
So zooming out a little bit, Columbia is a school full of performers and music business majors, other sorts of performers and things. So I was wondering if you could just speak a bit about your journey from an unsigned creative from a very small town to being signed to Glassnote and Universal.
It's a very strange story because I didn't really dream about becoming an artist when I was younger. I wanted to be many things, but not an artist. Maybe write songs for other people, or become an astronaut or a Christmas tree for a living. It was just something that happened. And in 2012, in December, I was out of the closet as a musician in front of my family. And my mom and dad kept asking me, "Can you sing for us?" And you know how horrible it is when you're around 15 and have to sing in front of your parents. It's really scary. So I decided to record a song so I could give it to them as a Christmas gift, so they could hear my music without me having to be in the room. And then someone released that song online. I don't know who it was, but someone put that song on a Norwegian SoundCloud site. And after that, things just began to happen. And I got a message from my current management 1 week later, asking me if I wanted to stop by and discuss my future career as a singer, songwriter, an artist as well. And I thought, no, I'm not gonna go and meet them, because I don't want to be on a stage. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to do all those things. I thought that I was not the person fitted to do these things. But then my mom said that you should always share something that can affect people in a good way, because you can't be selfish about these things, especially not music, because it can be so important to so many people. So I thought that I should give it a go. And then after that, I had my first meeting with them in January 2013. And a year after that, I had a band, and I did my first performance on a festival with a full band. And then things just began happening for real, and I have no idea how it happened. But it's just, I think it has a lot to do with the right timing and a bit of luck. And of course that people saw something in me that they enjoyed. And a lot of hard work, because it feels like since that day in 2014, we've been on tour, traveling, working, doing interviews and photo shoots, which I don't like that much. So strange. But it's weird how this tiny snowball just became a huge... I have a lot of Christmas references now, I can tell. I'm very into the Christmas mood. But yes, the snowball became a giant snowman, that was what I was going to say. And it's, I don't know how it happened. It's been a lot of work. And of course, playing the right festivals. I did a festival in Norway, which was an industrial festival, which got me signed by my current record labels and so on. And I think we've been mostly building up me as an artist through live shows, which have gotten me fans and record deals and stuff like that.
So to whoever put your song on SoundCloud, if you're listening to this, you're responsible for a lot, right? You could have had another Christmas tree instead.
Yes, could have been a Christmas tree instead. Well, it was that music, that song, and also a video of me singing on school, filmed this way, like sideways. But it was a bit of both that got me found. Very strange.
Well, all right, I think we're going to open this up to some audience questions. If you would like to raise our hands, if you have one.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Amy. Nice
Hello.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I have a question. I'm wondering, since everything started, have you ever had a really crazy fan experience? And if so, what was it?
Well, is he here today? No. Well, it's actually quite strange. I've had a few, and sometimes it's very strange, and sometimes it's a bit exciting. But we have a fan here, that's been with us since we played in Washington, and he hasn't had tickets to come to our shows, but somehow he's managed to get into every show. And I even put him on the guest list for one of the shows. But he's been on, 9 shows now, I think? And he's very nice. A very strange, beautiful, nice man. And it's weird to see how I'm kind of attracting people that are a bit similar to myself, which is nice. But it's weird how he's managed to come on every show. And he has this big bag with lots of stuff, and he gave me a feather that was from a bird that was illegal to have a feather from. Some kind of eagle. So I left that feather in New York. But still, very nice man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Alexia, and I was wondering how you come up with your album and song names, such as your EP, Running with Wolves.
Well, as you know, I'm very fond of nature and animals, and I think it's just like cool. I think the EP has the song Running with the Wolves, and that was written during a blood moon, if you know what that is, a blood moon, yeah. And I just imagined the blood moon, like turning all people into wolves. So it was just a kind of and also I read a lot of fantasy books, and I watch a lot of fantasy movies, so that might have something to do with the case. But I don't know, I just name my songs after things I find magical and that I like.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm wondering how fashion influences your music.
I like to dress the way I like to dress because it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like myself. And I think even how silly it sounds, that clothes has a lot to do with how you see people and how you remember people as well. And it's weird how you can see if someone is unhappy, almost, on the way they dress. And if someone seems like they're trying to hide in their clothes. Or if they're trying to show how lovely they feel. And it's, I think fashion influences my music. Maybe more than I think. But also, I don't know much about fashion, like designers. I know about Alexander McQueen, but that's the only designer I know about. So I don't know much about like high fashion. But I think the way people, it's easy to get inspired by the way people dress, because you can you can speak quite loudly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My question is, what is your songwriting process?
Oh, well, it depends. I have many things on my mind and I think a lot. So I always have things I need and I want to write about. So, but it depends. If I'm home, I will be at my piano and I will most likely begin with a melody and just play, and then the melody kind of tells me what it's about, and then and the words just come, and very often you just sing like me ma moo, and you say, okay, big bad wolf. I kind of hear the phonetic sounds because it's kind of like instinctively, like the words are coming to you. So that's always a good idea, I think, is to listen to the phonetics in the songs. But if I'm on tour, I can't really bring a piano with me because that would ruin my back. So I just write a lot of poems and lyrics, and then the melodies will come later. So it depends what tool I have in front of me. But I think if you're feeling uninspired, then stop. Because the worst is, nothing makes you feel worse than to try to make something when you're uninspired. It makes you feel worthless. So then just do something else and then come back to it later. That's very important, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
I want to know, people aren't as connected as they could be anymore. Do you get discouraged when you're making your art? How do you manage to do that when things are going kind of crazy around you?
Well, it's a nice question. Well, I think it's kind of more difficult to make art when you're busy, but also easier because being busy feels lovely sometimes, and sometimes it feels like you're busy, very busy. And then it's kind of like it does something very special to your mind and body, I think. And it kind of, the more frustrated you get over things, the more easy it is to feel the need to get it out of your body. And it's, for me, there's nothing that turns into a better song than when I have the need to write about something. When something makes me angry or sad or mad and frustrated, then it becomes more easily into a song. But I think I just have a book with me all the time and just write small pieces of lyrics all the time when I can.
Hi, I'm Elena. I just want to say thanks for sharing your gift. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But you kind of touched on this a little bit, but do you ever find yourself getting stuck musically and find it hard to transition what you're feeling into your artwork? And how do you kind of combat that?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's not like every song comes really easily. A few of my songs have been written in like 10 minutes just for fun, and then someone takes it seriously and makes it into a real song. But it's like, I have a song that I'm currently writing called, it doesn't really have a name yet, but it's about a rose that's hurting you. And you're a friend with this rose and you don't understand why it's hurting you, but it's just because it has thorns. Naturally, it's not hurting you by real intentions. And it's just like that song I have been writing on for 2-3 years, and I'm still not done with it. So it's just like, it depends. Like many of my songs, every time I get stuck, I just leave it behind and I move on to a new song, or I go to get something to eat. Nothing makes me feel better than to get something to eat. Or I run around or read a book, or just do something else, because I think it's not healthy to just try to force it and to create. But I guess like the world is full of time limits, isn't it? So it's hard to just go your own way and take your time, because you can't always do that, can't you? But it's definitely not a healthy thing, like trying to force it, because then nothing beautiful will come out of it. Or maybe, but I can't do it. So just have a lunch break or something, and then try to get out of the room. That's very important. Change rooms, because, yeah. And then just leave it, I think, until you feel inspired again. Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
I found your performance on the Jimmy Fallon show very inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
I'd just like to know a little bit about how you felt performing on national TV like that.
Well, strangely, both me and the people from the band were not nervous that day, which is very strange because I've been nervous by way smaller things than Jimmy Fallon. And it's weird how the people that works there, you can feel and sense that they're professionals, and they do this every day, and still they manage to know and feel that today is a special day. And I think that energy affected me a lot. And the people were really nice, and they had lots of fun things to eat backstage, like a popcorn with chocolate on the outside of the popcorn. But I felt really nice, and it's weird because you wait for 5 hours and then you have 3 minutes to give everything you have in your body on TV. I was a bit scared, but not very scared. It felt great. It did. It was very fun.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Chad.
Hello.
So basically, I was kind of curious as to, like, do you find it difficult to write music with pressures of the music industry around you, or do you, like, feel that some of maybe the lyrics aren't as meaningful to yourself with all the pressure coming from the business aspect of things?
Well, it's weird how I do think and write in a different way now than I did when I was 9, because then my only goal for writing a song was because of my heart. And now, of course, it's mostly because of my heart, and it will always be, but still, the more you know and learn, you can't really forget these things, and they're always in the back of my mind, far, far behind there, every time I write a song, or if I'm in the studio at least, and it's difficult. I don't like it, and I know that these days you need some kind of song that can connect with many people, because that makes it possible for me to be on tour and to actually have an audience when I play, and to do this for a living. But it's a hard compromise, because if you do something that you don't feel or enjoy or love, it makes it really hard to sing these songs and to work hard for them and to speak about them with pride in every interview. So I've definitely learned that it's very important to not compromise too much. I don't like the time pressure, but luckily I have many songs in my pockets, and I just take them up and make them into a new song and pretend that I've written a song in one day. It depends. But I think it also awakes this rebel inside of me that wants to do the opposite of what I should do. And I think it's good to find something in between, to follow your own way and to also listen a tiny bit.
Still.
Tiny, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
Well, first, I just want to say your music has been such an inspiration to me in my writing. And I saw your Lollapalooza performance, and it was just a wonderful experience, honestly.
Oh, thank you.
My question was, how often do you find yourself collaborating with others? And, like, is your creative process more just your own? Or, like, do you sing with other people? Do you play with other people? Or is it mostly just from your own thoughts?
Well, it depends. Like, I tend to write quite sad or mad, angry songs when I'm when I'm alone. And I do understand that people on my team felt that it would be nice to have maybe one song that was a bit happy, just to get some variation on the album, which I do understand. And it's weird how you can learn a lot by writing with people. So I have been sent around, like writing with many people, and 90% of those sessions did not go that well, because I didn't feel the connection. But I write a bit with my band, my bass player, Martin, and my drummer, Magnus. The three of us produced my album, and and all my music that's out there, we have done together. And sometimes I bring a finished song, sometimes I bring a finished song, but I'm lacking a line in the verse or the chorus. And it's always good to be open, because I'm learning to be less selfish as well, and to actually listen to people around you, because sometimes they have better ideas than you had. But I like to do a bit of both. But as long as I know the people and I like them, and I know that they respect me and will listen to me as well, then I think it could be a really good and positive thing to write with people, because it's kind of like I don't have much time to be with friends nowadays, so it's a way for me to be social as well, and to be with friends, to write with people that I like. So I have a few people. I have a duo in England, and then Martin and Magnus from my band, and they are mostly the only people that I collaborate with on a few songs, and then I write alone as well, a lot, but it's a bit of both.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hey.
I'm Steph. It's a
Hey.
little low. I saw you at Lollapalooza 2, and you were really, really good. it was an awesome experience. My question is, who are some of your favorite musicians, and do any of them inspire you in your music?
I'm very inspired by Leonard Cohen, may he rest in peace, and also Bob Dylan, and a few heavy metal elements and artists, because I like the heaviness and the temperament, and the rawness as well. And then I love classical music. I love Beethoven and Chopin, and also this Norwegian composer called Edvard Grieg. You may have heard it. Na 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 na. Yeah, yes. I love him as well. And also, I don't know. I like music without words. Like I love movie soundtracks. I love James Horner and Thomas Newman, and I don't know. Just I'm inspired by many things, because there's so much good music out there. But as long as they use their position to do something that's a bit bigger and more important than themselves. I like when people use music and songs to tell the world something that the world needs to be told, like a reminder of what can be better, and also a reminder of what is already good and beautiful about us and the world we see around us. I'm inspired by people that takes that chance and uses it in the best way possible, and that's what I want to do as well. To because I know that in music people listen. It's very inspiring to see that. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you all for being here, and thank you for your questions. Aurora, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, thank you for listening, and good luck with anything you want to do in your lives. And I think I had something to say, but it's gone now. But just, I think what I've learned mostly is to take my time. And some people's job is to push the times or the time limits, but I think there's no hurry, especially if you're very young. Then it's always better to be against or into the world out there, the more your feet are on the ground, I guess, and just find people to work with that gives you a lot of positive vibes as I have done. I have great people around me that is both inspiring and that takes care of me, which I think is a very big reason why I am not why I am happy now in what I do. And I guess that counts to everything you do. Just find people that are good and find a bigger reason than yourself to do what you do, because then you can always keep going, because you know that whatever happens to me, there is always this other great thing I can do for the world and people around me. It's a good way to keep yourself happy, I think.
All right, well, that's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a Spotify Sessions Masterclass. Aurora, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Masterclass, and we hope you enjoyed our conversation with Aurora. Stay tuned for future conversations with some of today's most creative artists, and make sure to check out All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend right here on Spotify.